today's rant is going to be about starter ships, and it's not quite a rant. It's just something that, as most of you guys know, I'm one of the hosts on the Redacted podcast, and I was putting together some information for the document that we use to kind of move the conversation of the podcast each day. And obviously, what's in the news this week is the 100i, the Origin starter ship. And the first thing that I started thinking about is, what the hell is a starter ship? I have no idea what a starter ship is anymore. You're purchasing a game. Now, the big issue in the part of the rant actual part of this is, are we purchasing ships or are we purchasing a game? Guys, like, let's get real here. If we were purchasing a game, would we not be purchasing the game, which would be a standard price of, my assumption would be $45, maybe $60. Okay? Maybe it would be $60. So why aren't we putting all of the prices of starter ships at $45 or $60 or whatever you want your game entry fee to be? Right? So if you're going to, like, how I envision Star Citizen being at some point is you are buying, like, okay, post-release or when it hits the beta stage or whatever, right? When ships are purchased in-game and less ships are bought on the website, how are they going to be selling the ship? How are they going to be selling the game is the real question. And how they're going to be selling the game is likely, or the only thing that makes sense, is you buy the game and then you get to choose a ship, right? At least for starting. So right now we have 4 starters. The Aurora, the Mustang, the 100i, and the Reliant. The Reliant's kind of a question mark whether or not it's a starter, right? So I don't understand what they're doing with this. It is so confusing. It is so exhausting. There have been, just in this stream alone, I know this is going to be turned into a YouTube video as well, but just in this stream alone, 2 to 3 people have come in and been like, what ship should I buy? How do I buy Star Citizen? It's so hard to answer that question. It's impossible to answer that question. It really is. How do you answer that question? I have no idea anymore how to answer that question. Because I don't know what a starter ship is. Because they're all varying prices. They all have 100 different variants. And, you know, they've done a good job, a much better job of, let's go to the Robert Space Industries site. They've done a much better job of, if you don't own an account, you would see something like this, right? Where you can scroll through and you can see information on the game. And at the very bottom, you see this, which is you have the choice between the Mustang Alpha Starter Pack for now $35 because it's $10 off at the moment. Probably at the time that this YouTube video is up, it won't be. It'll be back to the $45 standard price, right? Or the Aurora. You have your choice between the two. Now, the 100i is just in concept, so I imagine at some point we may see the 100i on this list. If the Reliant is one of their starter ships, why is it not here? Because it's not a standard price, right? So it's different. It's weird. The whole thing is just so confusing. I don't understand what a starter package is. So if those two are the starter packages, why are you calling the Reliant a starter? And then you can even go into something a little bit more weird with the Vulcan, calling that a starter when it's $200 and it's not really a starter. It's just your intro into certain game mechanics, not the actual game. And I think the big thing is Star Citizen or CIG needs to start selling the game and not ships, because they're actually starting to have some gameplay. This game's getting really fun, really enjoyable to play more often than, you know, checking out a new patch every now and then. And I just felt like having this rant or having this discussion about starter ships in general, I think they need to be clarified a little bit more about what they actually are. And honestly, personally, I think they need to be a standardized price. I think starter ships need to be whatever you choose. I don't care if you make the Aurora $60 to be in line with the 300 or with the 100i, excuse me. I don't care if the Mustang Alpha is $60 to be in line with the 100i as a game package. But I think those three in particular, they all have something different to offer, where, you know, the Mustang is faster, it's a little bit sleek. The Aurora is slower, but it's a little bit more combat ready, and the 100i has this fuel efficiency mechanic to it, right? Where it's a better fuel efficiency ship, plus the obvious like sleek and fun components and look of it, right? But I'm fine with them if they were just all a standard price. You buy the game Star Citizen when you come to the website, then it moves you to another option of, well, which ship would you like to start with? And if you decide that you don't like this before the game is released, you can switch amongst them freely, right? You get to try them all. And then at the time of release, you finally have to make a decision. This is the ship I'm starting with, right? Now, one of the big issues with that is you're able to buy the game with some of these more expensive ships. And I'll bring that part of the page up here. If we maybe scroll up a little bit, we should see it. And we go to the pledge store. If we go to game packages, you can see that there's a whole number of game packages, right? So you can buy a Cutlass for $155. There's loot and scoop packages. And then there's these bigger packages that you can buy for larger numbers. So that's kind of the hole in my argument that I'm curious, and I want to ask you guys in the YouTube comments and you guys in the Twitch chat, what are your suggestions for this? Because if somebody wants to go above and beyond and buy a Constellation Andromeda as their first ship, they should be able to. But how do you, as CIG, who is a company trying to make money to develop a video game, show that to the player without making it confusing? That's the part where I'm still a little bit confused and haven't really come up with a solid answer, which is why their very confusing game package pledge page is confusing, because there's a million different options and nobody knows what to choose. A lot of people have suggested, well, you should have to buy an Aurora first, or whatever starter ship first. Hi, Lola. Thank you for joining us. You should have to buy one of those first, then you can see those other ships. But from CIG's perspective, that's not okay, because somebody should be able to buy a Constellation Andromeda as their first package if they want to. How many people have been, how many streamers and YouTubers have suggested for you to get an Avenger Stalker as a starter ship? It's a really good starter ship, is it not? So that's one of the reasons behind it, is it's valued at $60 right now. It's right in that starter ship price bracket, but it affords the player so much more gameplay, right? So here's the thing. Here's my suggestions to CIG going forward. I know, here's one thing that I do know. They are making changes to the pledge store. That is on their schedule for the website. I'm assuming they're aware of the issues, okay? But you never know if something you suggested isn't something that I may suggest, or something that somebody in the comments may suggest, somebody on Reddit might suggest, is something that they haven't thought about yet. You gotta, if you're gonna have starter ships, you need to sell it as the game and then allow people to choose the ships. So the price is standardized. And I think that takes confusion out of it completely, right? And what are your starter ships going to be? and stop calling ships that aren't starters starters. First suggestion is you cannot buy any ship without a game package. You should be able to buy any game package from that list of game packages right off the bat. But if you're going to do a starter package, this is your intro level. This is the cheapest way in. They should all be a standard price. My opinion, $60, because that's a AAA game. We're coming up to the game actually being a game. It looks like a AAA game. It may not have all the game mechanics of a AAA game yet, but we know that it's going to. I think 60, boom, that's where it should be. And if they're going to keep the Avenger price, now that it's larger, at that $60 bracket, bring that into the starter ship window as well. If it's going to stay at $60, that's where it should be. And I think that's my opinions on it. I want to hear I want to hear your opinions on the matter as well. But yeah, I mean, I think that's really it for me as far as what I want to have there. And this is streamed live on Twitch. So if you guys are watching this on YouTube, feel free to check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/twerk17. For those of you guys that are watching this on Twitch, this is going to be a YouTube video. So for those of you guys watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button below if you enjoyed this video and want to see any other videos like this in the future. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching.